Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhudreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadadaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we have seen in first and second canto. So these two cantos are basically introduction to Srimad Bhagavatam. Now from third canto, we will see the Sarga and Visarga, these two things. So at the end of the second canto, last chapter of the second canto enumerates all the different subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Manvantare Shanugatha Nirodha Mukti Rashraya. So Sarga and Visarga, primary and secondary creation, very briefly just started at the ending of second canto. Now those will be elaborated in third and fourth canto. So basically this Sarga and Visarga is very vividly described in the conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. So now in the flow of Srimad Bhagavatam, we will come to that conversation of Maitreya and Vidura. And how are we going to comment that conversation? So basically the Bhagavatam which we are hearing is the version of Sutta Goswami. The version that Sutta Goswami spoke to the sages of Naimisharanya. So the sages of Naimisharanya, they were headed by Saunaka Rishi. Saunaka Rishi is asking Sutta Goswami, after hearing first and second canto, so he is asking about Vidura, what happened to Vidura. Vidura left and then what happened. So Sutta Goswami starts narrating about Vidura, and he also narrates whatever Sukadev Goswami has told to Parikshit Maharaj. And what Sukadev Goswami has told to Parikshit Maharaj is the conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. What Maitreya said Vidura and what Vidura asked. So that conversation is the main point of discussion, and the same conversation is quoted by Sukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, and now the same conversation is being narrated by Srila Sutta Goswami to the sages of Naimisharanya. So now we are hearing from Sutta Goswami as an audience among the sages of Naimisharanya, but we are hearing the conversation of Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami, and they are discussing about Maitreya and Vidura. So let us enter into the conversation of Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking about the background of Vidura meeting Maitreya, how Vidura met Maitreya, Maitreya Vidura Sambandha, how did it happen. So the background is Vidura goes to counsel Dhritarashtra, and because Duryodhana is seen personified, envious of Krishna, so Vidura says, Dhritarashtra, please give your son up. So Duryodhana, you should give up his company. So after all this, Duryodhana actually got angry and chastises, menaces Vidura. Then Vidura is traveling as a mendicant to different places and finally reached Prabhasa Kshetra, and there he met Uddhava. And Vidura was asking Uddhava regarding the welfare of different members of the Yadu dynasty, including Krishna. So then this is chapter 2, Remembrance of Lord Krishna by Uddhava. So Uddhava, when Vidura asked Uddhava about the welfare of the different members of the Yadu dynasty, so Uddhava was basically silent for 48 minutes. He did not reply anything. He went into ecstatic trance and he was remembering different pastimes of Krishna. Because Krishna has already left, Vidura came to know about this fact from Uddhava. So because Krishna has left, Uddhava is in a deep contemplation of the different pastimes of Krishna. So initially randomly and then systematically, Uddhava remembers all the different pastimes of Krishna. His pastimes with the gopis, pastime with the sakhas, and all the different pastimes. Govardhan Lila, Ras Lila, killing of the different demons, like that. So Uddhava remembers Lord's pastimes out of Vṛndāvana in this chapter, chapter 3. In chapter 2, we have seen Lord's pastime in Vṛndāvana as remembered by Uddhava. Then Lord pastimes out of Vṛndāvana, kidnap of Rukmini, marrying 8 queens, and then killing Kamsa in Mathura, and then going to Hastinapur, Rajasuya sacrifice, enthroning Yudhishthir Maharaj, all those pastimes Uddhava is remembering inside and outside of Vṛndāvana. So then Uddhava is a pure devotee and remembering Krishna. So Vidura is seeing the mood of Uddhava, and Vidura was enamored by this attachment of Uddhava towards Krishna. So Vidura could recognize that Uddhava is not an ordinary soul. He is an eternal associate of Krishna, pure devotee. So Vidura wanted to take initiation from Uddhava. But then what happened? Then Uddhava told that I cannot give you initiation because it will be Marjada Vyatikram. So better you go to Maitreya. Maitreya is another elderly person who was also there at the time I received instruction from Krishna. So Uddhava received personal instruction from Krishna. That was one qualification for Uddhava to become spiritual master. Therefore Vidura approached him. But Uddhava told there was Maitreya also who heard the same thing from Krishna. So you better go to Maitreya and take initiation from him, hear from him. Because you are an elderly person, I am junior. So it will be Maryada Vyatikram, breach of etiquette if I tell you something or if I give you initiation. So in this context, they also describe how the Yadu dynasty was destroyed, the pastime of Samba, how the boys of the Yadu dynasty, they dressed up Samba as a pregnant woman, and the sages were coming to Dwaraka at that time. They told the sages, can you please predict that whether there is boy or girl in the womb of this pregnant woman? Although it was a Yadu boy, he was not pregnant. So then sages could recognize that they are joking with the sages, and they cursed them that indeed this boy will give birth to an iron club, and that iron club will be the reason for the destruction of the whole dynasty. So this is a long past time. Then the iron club was so they went to Ugrasena Maharaj, and the iron club was crushed away and thrown into the ocean, and there was one small part left, and that small part one hunter will pick up, and a fish will engulf that, and ultimately it will reach to the hand of a hunter called Jara, and with that he will make an arrow, and that arrow pierces the lotus feet of Krishna. This is how Krishna ended his pastimes. And also from the iron club, the crushed powder of the iron club, the small particles will grow up as a sword, cane like sword. And when the Yadus went to Prabhaksha Kshetra, they were intoxicated, and at that time they will fight among each other with that sword like cane, and they will die. And this is how all the Yadus, including Krishna, will end up his pastime. So although Krishna can nullify this curse and all, he did not because Krishna wanted to show the power of Vaishnava Parad. Krishna wanted to show that even if you are a family member of Supreme Personality of Godhead, you cannot overcome the Vaishnava Parad, so it will affect you. So this pastime is explained here. And then Krishna instructs Uddhava Uddhava also says that I was instructed by Krishna and all that. And therefore Maitreya was also there. Initially Maitreya had some jnana inclination, but after hearing the conversation between Krishna and Uddhava, he got purified. So therefore Uddhava says that Maitreya is also qualified to give you initiation. And Uddhava also describes different apparent contradictory or bewildering qualities of Krishna. Krishna has no work, but still he works. Krishna is unborn, still he takes birth. Control of time, still runs away from the enemies, and different things. So all the qualities and pastimes of Krishna were remembered by Uddhava. And then finally, Vidura wanted to take initiation, but Uddhava redirected Vidura towards Maitreya. And now Vidura goes to the bank of Ganges and meets Maitreya in Haridwar. So that is chapter 5. Vidura talks with Maitreya. Now Vidura went to Maitreya and Vidura is asking some questions, basic questions. And so what are those questions? How to attain real happiness? And Vidura glorifies pure devotees. Vidura says that speak out pure devotional service. Tell me anything which is related to Krishna. If there is something which is not related to Krishna, then don't speak. If answer to my questions are related to Krishna, you only speak that aspect which is related to Krishna and speak out pure devotional service. Krishna Katha is the essence of all topics. So Vidura is glorifying pure devotees, Krishna Katha, and asking some valid important questions. And he also says there are many topics I want to know from you. Start with the Purusha avatars. Parikshit Maharaj and Vidura both, they requested their authority to speak about the Purusha avatars first, because one should know the majesty of Krishna before knowing the sweet pastimes. So therefore, greatness aspect of Krishna is explained elaborately when we hear about the Purusha avatars. So therefore, Vidura is also asking to speak about Purusha avatars first. And then Vidura glorified Maitreya. Maitreya is Artha Bandhu, most benevolent soul. Please, so Vidura says, please enlighten me. And Maitreya also glorifies back Vidura. Thank you for asking me this kind of questions and giving me opportunity to speak Harikatha. Vidura was Yamraj and he incarnated as Vidura just to take some leave from his work and to associate with pure devotees and hear Krishna Katha. So therefore, Vidura was actually Yamraj who came as Vidura to hear Krishna Katha. So then Maitreya starts explaining the process of creation, Mahavishnu, how from Mahavishnu everything is coming. Mahavishnu impregnates the Prakriti with Jivas. Then Karana Srishti. Karana Srishti means creation of the different ingredients, Pancha Mahabhutas, and then Tanmatras and all those things, 24 elements. Then after Karana Srishti, all the different elements are created. The presiding deities of all the elements like earth, water, fire, air, ether, they are praying to Mahavishnu that we are created now, we will combine with each other and will manifest the whole universe. So they are praying to Mahavishnu so that by Lord's Vibrit Shakti, the elements can combine and they can create. So they are praying to Mahavishnu. Lord's lotus feet is the shelter of all surrendered soul. From Lord's lotus feet, Ganga comes. From lotus mouth, Bhagavad Gita comes. By drinking Krishna Katha, bhakti will be deep, detachment to material world and attachment to Lord. So by after offering the prayers, Lord releases his cohesive energy or Vibrit Shakti, and by this they combine with each other and manifest the entire material universe. And by Lord's glance, sequentially different elements are generated. So this is how the process of creation is explained. Now in chapter 6, this is elaborately.
Yeah, Krishna Prabhu, one doubt. Can you go to the previous slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, to the third point, Karana Srishti reiterated. But what does the reiteration means? Means it happened already.
Actually, it is explained in the second canto already. Therefore, here also we are seeing Karana Srishti. So that's why I wrote that it is reiterated. Okay.
Oh,
We already
acha.
see the second canto.
Okay.
Okay. So one request that if you have any questions, just write it down. We can discuss at the end, because then we will lose the flow maybe. But these quick questions are good. Just write it down. We will come back. Now in the chapter 6, we have universal form. So from the we are explaining. So Maitreya is explaining the process of creation. So process of creation, how Mahavishnu creates, that is explained. Now we will come to Garbhodakoshayi Vishnu. So after Mahavishnu sent Vibrat Shakti elements combine, then Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodakoshayi Vishnu, divides himself to generate different components like Jiva Shakti, Prana Shakti, Atma Shakti, and different demigods are manifested from the universal form. So Garbhodakoshayi Vishnu expands to universal form and the demigods come, and development of different planets, planetary systems, different kinds of living entities, varnas, they all manifest from Garbhodakoshayi Vishnu and the universal form. So Mahavishnu creates the elements, they combine, the universes are created. Then Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodakoshayi Vishnu, and creation within the universe then starts. Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodakoshayi Vishnu, then Jiva Shakti, Prana Shakti, Atma Shakti, different demigods, universal form, planetary systems, living entities, varnas, all those things inside the universal, like inside one universe, the creation inside universe starts. After explaining up to this point, Maitreya says, I don't know all these things in detail, I don't have any qualification. Still, I try to glorify. So therefore, we should also glorify Krishna to whatever capacity we have. We cannot know or glorify Krishna up to the full extent, but we should try according to our capacity, and then we will be purified. Then further inquiries by Vidura. After explaining the creation process, then Vidura is asking more questions. So first question, how material modes emanate from the spiritual Lord? Lord is spiritual. The three modes of material nature are material. How come this material modes is coming from the spiritual Lord? The answer is, modes come from the Lord, but he is transcendental. Lord has both spiritual and material energy. So Lord is untouched. He has spiritual energy, material energy. From material energy, modes come, but he is untouched. One energy may control another energy sometimes, but energy never controls energetic. The Supreme Lord is the controller of the energy, material energy. Material energy cannot control the Supreme Lord. So Lord is spiritual, but he has both energies, spiritual energy and material energy. And three modes are part of material energy. They are subordinate to the Supreme Lord. Then question 2 is, Jiva is spiritual, part of the Supreme Lord. How can the spirit soul come under material modes? Why spirit soul experience suffering in presence of super soul? In our body, Supreme Lord is residing. So Supreme Lord is so near to us. Still, why we are suffering? The answer is, it's like a dream. Because the jiva misidentifies itself with the body, therefore the suffering. Suppose I am too much attached to a car, then if someone scratches the car, I will feel pain. Otherwise, there is no correlation between the car and my body. My body is not hurt. The car is hurt, but I am feeling pain because I am misidentifying myself with the car. Similarly, when the soul misidentifies itself with the body, sufferings of the body becomes sufferings of the soul. So that's the thing. Then Vidura says, thank you for enlightening me. I have received this knowledge, but to realize I must serve pure devotees like you. So knowledge I have received, but to digest this knowledge, I need Vaishnava Seva. So therefore, the service to Vaishnavas is rare opportunity, and we should do Vaishnava Seva to digest spiritual knowledge. Then Vidura is asking similar questions here, similar to the questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj in 2.8, Canto 2, Chapter 8. Therefore, Sukadev Goswami quoted this Maitreya Vidur Sambad to Parikshit Maharaj to answer his questions, because the questions are similar. Then in Chapter 8, manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakoshayi Vishnu. Then Maitreya begins and he says that, okay, I am speaking Srimad Bhagavatam in a different parampara. That parampara is starting from Lord Sankarshan, Sanat Kumar, Sankhyan Muni, Parashar, Brihaspati, then Maitreya. Okay, so then he explains what happened from Garvadukasha Vishnu further process of creation. Then Brahmaji takes birth from the navel of Garvadukasha Vishnu in a lotus flower. After taking birth, Brahmaji is bewildered what to do. Then Brahmaji he searched through the lotus stem to know the origin of the lotus stem, but he could not find. Then he did penances, austerities, and meditation. And finally, he got the darshan of Garvadukasha Vishnu. And after he saw the form of Garvadukasha Vishnu, the description of the Garvadukasha Vishnu is given. And Brahmaji prayed to Garvadukasha Vishnu. He glorified the auspicious form of the Lord and he offered several prayers. Lord will manifest in our heart of sincere listener. We smell the fragrance of Lord's lotus feet by hearing. Then Brahmaji also asked for some empowerment. Please empower me in my duty of creation. Please protect me from false ego. Please protect me from any deviation from Vedic sound vibration. Prayers for protection and fear of fall down is a healthy for devotees. We should also do, following the footsteps of Brahmaji. Then Garvadukasha Vishnu said that don't be anxious. All your prayers are already fulfilled. I have already empowered you. And because I have empowered you, you are able to offer me prayers. If I do not empower you, you cannot offer prayers also. So already you are empowered with all potencies, intelligence, ingredients for creation and go ahead. Everything is ready for you. Then Brahmaji starts creation. So Mahavishnu's creation, Garvadukasha Vishnu's creation is done and now Brahmaji's creation. So then Brahmaji divides the lotus stem into 3 parts, later in 14 parts. And these 14 parts are 14 planetary systems. Then Vidura is asking about time factor. Maitreya answers briefly. The time is the representation of Lord's power without beginning or end. Time is the cause of interaction of modes, cyclic in nature, and cause of creation and destruction. In chapter 11, he will elaborately explain about time. Now, in this chapter, 10 divisions of creation are explained, which are done by Brahmaji. 6 types of primary creation, Sarga, that is already done by Vishnu, Karana Srishti. Mahatata, Ahankar, Tanmatra, senses, mind, and demigods, Avidya Shakti. All these 6 kinds of primary creation. Then 3 types of secondary creation is done by Brahmaji. Lower species, which have horizontal nourishment, like different animals like cow, their digestive tract is horizontal. Then trees, they are nourished by upward like transportation of water and the nutrients. And then human being, they are nourished downward. Whatever we take goes downward. So these 3 types of species Brahmaji created, and the 4th type is demigods. So these 4 types are done by Brahmaji and 6 types of primary creation done by Mahavishnu. So total 10 divisions of creation. In chapter 11, the time or Kala Shakti is explained. The different measurements of time, Paramanu, Paramamahan, Paramanutam. So smallest unit of time and the greatest unit, like that. And the different zone of time in different planetary system is also explained. Lifespan of people in other planets, like 1000 Divya Yuga or Mahayuga is 1 day of Brahma, Satyateta Drapar Kali times 1000, and 360 days in earth is 1 day of demigods. So Brahma's 1 day and demigods 1 day is explained. Partial dissolution happens after every day of Brahma. Complete dissolution happens after 100 years of Brahma or the complete lifetime of Brahma. In 1 day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus, which is 1000 Chaturyugas, is 1 Kalpa. So therefore 1 Manvantara or the reign of 1 Manu is approximately 71 Chaturyuga. Currently 7th Manvantara is going on. Total 14 Manvantar in 1 day of Brahma, 7th Manvantar is going on. And lifetime of Brahma is 2 Parardhas, Brahmakalpa, Padmakalpa, Barahakalpa, different days of Brahma has different names. 100 years of Brahma is one breathing of Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu is so great that this 311 trillion years, 40 billion years, which is the lifespan of Brahma, is just one breath of Mahavishnu. Innumerable universes come out of the bodily pores of Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu is so great. Vishnu Mahansa Ihajascha Kala Vishesho Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This Mahavishnu is expansion of Krishna. Okay, then in chapter 12, we see the creation of the Kumaras and others. So from Brahmaji started creating different planetary system and different jivas. So Brahmaji is entrusted with the task of populating the whole universe, and Brahmaji is delegating that task to different offsprings. So when Brahmaji started secondary creation, he created 5 features of ignorance, because ignorance is the basis of this material world. Tamas, Moham, Mahamoham, Tamishram, Andhatamishram. Tamas, ignorance of one's identity as soul. Moham, accepting a false identity as body. Mahamoham, possessiveness of objects in relation to the body. Tamishram, when possessiveness is challenged, we feel angry, that is Tamishram. Andhatamishram, a sense of death, when possessiveness over the body is challenged at the time of death. So these 5 features of ignorance are created by Brahmaji. Then after creating these 5 features, Brahmaji was dissatisfied. Then Brahmaji created 4 Kumaras out of the Vidya potency and told them to expand the progeny. But they told, we will remain Brahmachari. So they were disobedient to Brahma, and Brahmaji became angry. From anger, Rudra came, and Brahmaji gave 11 names and 11 places, 11 wives to Rudra. Rudra and his associates, his descendants, are destroying the universe. Now the universe is in a phase of creation. Secondary creation is taking place. And by creation of Rudra, already the destruction started. So that is disturbing Brahmaji's creation. So Brahmaji told that Rudra, you better stop your creation and you go and meditate. Then Brahmaji created 10 sages, Kashyapa, Marichi and all, told them to procreate. And then Brahmaji became lusty towards his own daughter Vak, that is distraction. And finally, all these 10 sons are not populating the universe in a sufficient manner. So therefore, Brahmaji felt deficiency. So these are the different obstacles: dissatisfaction, disobedience, disturbance, distraction, and deficiency. In spite of all these obstacles, Brahmaji continued his service with determination. That is a lesson for us. When Brahmaji was feeling deficient, that universe is not sufficiently populated, Swayambhuva Manu and Saturupa manifested from Brahmaji, and they told that we can help you. So now we will hear about Brahmaji created different sons and told them to procreate. Some of them are disobedient, some are doing, and those who are doing are not doing in a sufficient way. Then Swayambhuva Manu and Saturupa manifested. Now from now onwards we will hear the creation by Swayambhuva Manu and Saturupa. So after creation of Manu, Swayambhuva Manu, the first Manu, Brahmaji told him that go to Bhumandala and you rule over Bhumandala and you procreate. Then Swayambhuva Manu asked, where is Bhumandala? Bhumandala is not there. It has went down into the Garbhodaka ocean. Brahmaji saw that yes, Bhumandala is not there. So Brahmaji was thinking what to do, contemplating. Then from the nostril of Brahmaji, Lord Varaha appeared. This is Adi Varaha or Shvet Varaha. And Varahadev took Bhumandala from the Garbhodaka ocean and reinstated her in original position. So this is Adi Varaha. And there was another incarnation of Varahadev. In this context, that Varahadev is also explained. That Varahadev comes in the 6th Manvantara. Okay. Another Varaha at 6th Manvantara, which is Nila or Rakta Varaha, who fought with Hiranyakṣa. So in this same context of Adi Varaha, the Rakta Varaha is also explained, who fought with Hiranyakṣa. And now the background. Who is Hiranyakṣa? So Maitreya describes the whole episode. How Diti is one wife of Kashyapa. Kashyapa is so here we saw that 10 sages are son of Brahma. So one of them is Kashyapa. So Kashyapa is son of Brahma and he has two wives, Diti and Aditi. Diti is the mother of the demons, Aditi is the mother of the demigods. So Diti approached Kashyapa at a wrong time during the evening time, and they were united. And at that time, Lord Shiva is moving with different ghosts and all. Whoever is uniting at that time, Lord Shiva will send one ghostly being into the womb. So eventually, from the womb of Diti, Hiranyakṣa and Hiranyakashipu will take birth due to the untimely union. Then Kashyapa told everything will be inauspicious and your sons will be demoniac because we have united in a wrong time. So then, yes, then Diti held his pregnancy for 100 years because she knew that her sons are going to be demons and they will torment the entire universe. Darkness prevailed in the universe. Universe was disturbed. Demigods went to Brahma and asked to solve the problems. So in due course, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha took birth and they were tormenting the universe. So demigods went to Brahma for solution. Brahmaji told, see, I have nothing to do. This is happening under a superior plan. Let me narrate that plan to you. So Brahmaji told, this is happening from Vaikuntha. Once my four sons, four Kumaras went to Vaikuntha. And what happened? Before explaining what happened, Brahmaji takes this opportunity to glorify Vaikuntha. So Brahmaji glorifies men, Lord, forest, couples, birds, planets, and everything about Vaikuntha. The beauty and the different consciousness of Vaikuntha. Then he explains the episode how four Kumaras went to Vaikuntha, wanted to enter Vaikuntha. Jai and Vijay obstructed them. Then four Kumaras cursed Jai and Vijay and they took birth as, this is a long episode again, we will skip the details. So they took birth as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, and the Supreme Lord will come to deliver them. So Brahmaji told, don't worry, Supreme Lord is going to come and solve this problem. So for now you just tolerate. So the two doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jai and Vijay, cursed by the sages. Okay. Brahmaji spoke this pastime to demigods and he told, I cannot do anything. Let Vishnu take steps. Then Lord Vishnu came as Varahadev and fought with Hiranyaksha. And then he fought with Hiranyakṣa, defeated and killed Hiranyakṣa, and he reduced the burden of earth by that. So the battle between Lord Boar and demon Hiranyakṣa. So now the story is completed. So where were we? We started here. We were discussing about creation. Maitreya Rishi was describing creation, Brahmaji's creation. Then from Brahmaji's creation, we are coming to Swayambhuva Manu's creation. Swayambhuva Manu asked, where is Bhumandala? Then Adi Varaha took incarnation and reinstated Bhumandala. In connection to Adi Varaha, Rakta Varaha is also explained. And who is Rakta Varaha? The killer of Hiranyakṣa. Who is Hiranyakṣa? All these different chapters are giving the background of who is Hiranyakṣa. And then Rakta Varaha comes, defeats Hiranyakṣa up to chapter 18, 19, killing of the demon Hiranyakṣa. Then again we come back. After this detour of 6 Manvantara and Hiranyakṣa and Rakta Varaha, we come back to the first Manvantara and creation of Swayambhuva Manu. Vidura is asking, how did Brahma create living entities? So Maitreya repeats the whole process. So this chapter 20 is basically summary or recap of the previous creations. Then first Manu is Swayambhuva Manu. This chapter is a summary to previous topics. Because we took a detour, we need a recap. So this is the recap chapter. Then from 21 we will see the creation of Swayambhuva Manu. Okay. So if you remember Mahavishnu's creation we discussed. Then Garbhodakashayi Vishnu's creation we discussed. From Garbhodakosha Vishnu, Brahmaji came. Brahmaji's creation we discussed. And now we were discussing the creation by Swayambhuva, Manu and Satarupa. In between, we took a detour of the 6th Manvantara and described the pastime of Raktavaraha Hiranyakṣa and all the different backgrounds of that and description of the Vaikuntha. So now Swayambhuva, Manu and Satarupa has 5 children: Akuti, Prasuti, Devahuti, Priyabrata Maharaja and Uttanapad. From this chapter, 3rd canto, 21st chapter to 5th canto, 15th chapter, we will see the different lineages of Swayambhuva, Manu and Satarupa. In this canto 3, remaining chapters 3.21 to 33, we will see the lineage of Devahuti. Chapter 21 to 24, ideal household of Kardama and Devahuti. 25 to 33, teachings of Lord Kapila. 4th canto, 1st chapter, lineage of Akuti and Prasuti. Up to 4.7, lineage of Sati, who is Prasuti's daughter. Then 8 to 31, Uttanapada's lineage. 5.1 to 15, lineage of Priyabrata Maharaj. So all these 5 children of Swayambhuva, Manu, Satarupa will be explained till the 5th canto. Okay, so now from chapter 21 to 24, we will see the ideal household of Kardama, Muni and Devahuti. Kardama is 11th son of Brahma, and he was instructed by his father Brahma to create progeny. He did 10,000 years of tapasya before entering into the household ashram. Then after the tapasya, Kardama got darshan of the Lord and offered prayers. Kardama said that, "O Lord, I am not a pure soul, therefore I have some material desire. I want a suitable wife to marry." And he also told, "See, this is not my material desire also, because this is instruction of my father Brahma. And instruction of Brahma means instruction of you, because you have entrusted the service of creating progeny to Brahma, and Brahma is asking me to help him in that service." So it is just like Prabhupada has given some instruction to our Guru Maharaj, and our Guru Maharaj is asking our help, and we are trying to serve Guru Maharaj. So Kardama is telling, so I am basically asking a good wife to serve you only, because that's my service, to create progeny. Then Lord told, "Okay, what you are praying is already granted. Day after tomorrow, Manu, Swayambhuva Manu is coming with her daughter, accept her. You will get 9 daughters and 1 son, Kapila, and this son will be myself. I will be your son, and I am impressed with your devotional service. After retiring from Grihastha life, you will be able to see me everywhere." Then according to Lord's prediction, Manu comes to see Kardama. Bindu Sarovar, all these things, ambience are described. Kardama receives Manu with honor and glorifies him. Then Manu says that, "You are a pure Brahmana, please accept my daughter." And Manu also enumerates different qualities of Devahuti. And then Kardama Muni admires the qualities of Devahuti and accepts her. But Kardama Muni had one condition: as soon as Devahuti will give birth to children, I will leave. So this is an ideal Grihastha who is planning for Vanaprastha before entering Grihastha. And everyone agreed. Swayambhuva, Manu, Devahuti, and everyone agreed. Then Kardama says, "My highest authority is Lord, and finally I want to serve him full time. Therefore, after executing my household duties, I will take Vanaprastha and I will leave. I will go to the Supreme Lord." Then Kardama became silent after finishing and started meditation. Marriage is done, and Manu and Satarupa returned. And rest of the chapter will describe the ideal household of Manu. So Manu and Satarupa is also executing a ideal household. And here Kardama and Devahuti is also ideal householder. So Manu is not distracted by opulences. He is focused on Krishna. Therefore, he is ideal. Now chapter 3, Devahuti's lamentation. So Devahuti wonderfully serves Kardama according to his mood and disposition, with humility, respect, reverence, no pride, envy, and all these things. So Devahuti was not taking care of her body, and she was emaciated. And Kardama told her, "I will bestow all mercy, Bhagavat Prasad, that I have received by devotional austerities." So Kardama wanted to enlighten Devahuti in spiritual knowledge. I will give you Ashokam Avayam, free from fear and lamentation. Devahuti innocently told, I will accept this Bhagavad Prasad, but first give me some children. And for giving me children, make my body suitable to become mother. So Kardama told, okay. Devahuti's desire is satisfied. Kardama gave Devahuti back her youth, and her body was suitable for becoming mother. Then Kardama created a aerial mansion which can fly, and in that aerial mansion, Kardama travels to different places and enjoys household life with Devahuti for 100 years. Kardama expands into 9 forms and impregnates Devahuti and begots 9 daughters. Then Kardama was about to leave. Devahuti controlled her emotions. And Devahuti told, you have given me daughters, you have not given me Avayam, which is a son. And she also laments that I did not utilize your association to perfect my life. You wanted to give me Bhagavad Prasad, I did not receive. I only enjoyed sense gratification with you. So please give me spiritual benediction now and also give me one son. So then Kardama stays back, consoles her, and Kardama says the Supreme Lord will be your son, don't worry. And in due course, Lord Kapila appears as the son of Kardama and Devahuti. And Brahma comes, suggests Kardama to offer the 9 daughters to different sages in marriage. Then Kardama offers prayers to Kapila and retires. Immediately after Kapila is born, Kardama retires after offering prayers. Then one may question that if the Supreme Lord is in home as Lord Kapila, then why to leave? So why Kardama lived? Why Kardama left? So it's the duty of a grihastha to leave home at right age. So that's one reason. And Kardama worships in Dasya, not in Vatsalya. So if he stays back in home, he will serve as Vatsalya. But his Swarup is Dasya. So therefore, he left to forest. Now remaining chapters from 25 to 33 is the teachings of Lord Kapila, which is summarized here in this slide. So there are 7 questions by Mother Devahuti and answer to those 7 questions. So in the chapter 25, we have 4 questions by Devahuti. Please dispel my illusion. What kind of bhakti I should perform to attain you easily? Explain the process of jnana. Explain the process of yoga. Answers to these questions. First 2 questions are answered in the chapter 25. How to dispel illusion? By performance of Adhyatmika Yoga, which consists of 3 parts. Sankhya, Yoga means Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti. Out of them, Bhakti is superior or the supreme. But other 2 things we should know to appreciate Bhakti. Second question, what kind of Bhakti I should perform to attain you easily? Answer is, perform Bhava Bhakti, which is beyond the 3 modes of material nature. But if you are not qualified to perform Bhava Bhakti, then perform Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Then in chapter 26 and 27, the Sankhya is explained. Different characteristics of Prakriti, Purusha, different elements, Karya Sisti, Virat Rupa, Jiva in the conditioned state, how he attains liberation, all this process of jnana is explained. Enumeration of the different elements of the material universe and the universal form and all that. Then in chapter 28, the process of yoga is explained, different limbs of Ashtanga Yoga and Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So in this we have description of Lord's form for Dharana and Dhyana. Dhyana is also there. Sanchinte Bhagavatas Charanaravindam. Meditation on the different limbs of the Supreme Lord is explained here. Chapter 28. Then in so these 4 questions were asked in chapter 25 and up to chapter 28 everything is answered. In chapter 29 we have 3 fresh questions. So previously, she asked about the process of jnana and yoga. Now she asks, please explain bhakti in detail. And please explain me the nature of time. And then how continual birth and death of the jivas are taking place. So in chapter 29, various classes of bhakti, different types of bhakti, characteristics of pure bhakti, different angas of bhakti, and dangers of different offenses in devotional service is explained. And also in chapter 29, the characteristics of time is explained. Characteristics of time is already explained by Maitreya, but here Lord Kapila also explains. And the different birth and death of the jivas, cycle of birth, old age, disease, death is explained in the remaining chapters 3.30 to 32. The pains in youth, old age, death, hell of the materially attached persons. 3.31. This chapter basically describes the embryo in the womb of the mother, how the embryo suffers, and how the child, if the child is a devotee, then the child prays within the womb to the Supreme Lord. Criticism of Sakama Karma and superiority of Bhakti Yoga. All these things are explained up to chapter 32. Then we have chapter 33, different activities of Kapila. Devabhuti finally prays that you are so great, O my Lord. How did you take birth in my womb? I am astonished by that. You are so great, the Supreme Lord. I am a insignificant woman. How did you take birth in my womb? So this is one question. At the time of universal devastation, you lie down in a vatapatra and suck your own toe, because Krishna wanted to taste the nectar of his lotus feet. Okay. Even a Chandala, if chants your holy name, will be purified and will be qualified to perform Vedic sacrifices. So Devabhuti says all these things, glorifies Lord Kapila, and expresses her astonishment that the Lord has taken birth as her son. Kapila says, you will attain prema by following this path, which is explained by me. And then Kapila goes to Gangasagar to perform austerities. Although he does not require, but he is doing for Loka Shiksha to teach different people. Devabhuti attains perfection, and Devabhuti melted her own body that became river. One who hears this narration of Kapila with attention attains his lotus feet. This is the Falashruti. So this is the end of third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So here the lineage of Swayambhuva Manu and Satarupa's children are explained. So Devabhuti is explained. Now from chapter 4.1, the fourth canto, first chapter, Akuti Prasuti will be explained. Then Uttanapad, Dhruva Maharaj, and then Priyabrata Maharaj will be explained in the fifth canto. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.